All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Here a motion to accept the minutes of the May 14, 2025 meeting.
Yes.
Moved. Second. Moved in second, any discussion? None, all in favor? Carried. Communications, we've got the operating report summary in May 2025.
So as normal, if you have any questions, let me know. So we average 5.4 million gallons a day. Like we stated before the meeting, it was the third wettest May on record. And I got a chart to show you after as well. We peaked at 16.3 one day, and averaged 9.3 over the course of the whole day, so we did quite a bit of flow. Removal efficiencies were 97.8 on BOD and 98.3 on TSS. Ethylene ammonia was 0.25. Total nitrogen, we're 3 pounds over, but it's a rolling 178-pound limit for the year, so it's just for the month. We're still way under for the year, which is what I was going to go over. Phosphorus, total pound 76.67 and 1.53 milligrams a liter. We had good biosolids too at 23.1%.
So obviously the plant was designed for a lot less than the peak. How did?
Correct. So we can do actually up to technically 18.9. We've done 22 here, so we can handle it. This time of year, we typically have 2 clarifiers on because it's dry and we're dropping them for maintenance. So right now we're down 1 aeration tank, 1 clarifier, but we actually ran 16.3 million through 2 clarifiers, not even using the third one. So the plant worked well. We added some polymer for settling. If we needed the third one, obviously we would put it on, but kind of good to know what we can do with the plant in times like that. Before we go to the engineering report, this was what I made just to show the past 4 years that we had the fermentation tank on. So red is the nitrogen this year. So even though we were over in May, you can still see our average is under the previous 4 years. And I averaged the first 2 weeks of June to kind of show where we are right now. So we're averaging probably 10–15% under all 3 previous years, which is very good. I keep saying I don't really see it going another 10 or 15% because we're kind of getting to the threshold that it's just as efficient as it's going to get, but still good to show the flow that we're within that range. Yep.
Report dated May 2025.
So a lot of these were flow and storm related because we had a ton of storms in May. So I'll go through them quick. Snowberry pump station, we had a high temp alarm, reset everything, it ran without an issue. It was related to power outages from the storm. Sometimes if you get thunder or lightning, you get a power blip. I mean, we might get an intrusion, a pump fail, a high temp, anything that will randomly come in. South Road, May 9th, we responded to a flow backup. It was reset. There's no issues with it. Tungsas Village, we responded to a high current fault. After resetting it, it ran without any problems. West Farms, this was probably definitely related to weather. We had a fault on the primary pressure transducer. So when that typically faults, it goes to the ultrasonic, and then if the ultrasonic faults, it goes to the flow backup. So there's 3 fail safes before anything will really crash, and by that point, we're already out there. That caused a discrepancy, and once we reset everything, it ran fine. We couldn't replicate it, so it was probably weather related as well. And then the last one, corporate Hyde Stanley, we had the generators running for a little bit. They reset, ran the utility power after, and we were fine.
So the generator will reset on their own.
Yeah, what happens was if you get a lightning strike and you lose utility power, your ATS or your automatic transfer switch will automatically transfer over. Once the power comes back on, knows the utility power's on, and it'll switch over to utility. 99 times out of 100. Once in a while it'll switch and something will happen, we have to go reset it, but it's typically automatic. And that's on every station except Maple Ridge and South Road. pump station upgrades and collection systems. So we did a ton of jetting this month. We jetted Burnt Hill, Park Drive, Maple Ridge, Penfield, Red Oak Hill, Skyline, Talcott Notch, Timber Lane, Westgate, and Valley View. We've been doing a lot of early morning jetting. We're actually gonna put a hold on it for about a month just because the fiscal year resets and we're getting close to the overtime on that. Assisted highway cleaning and vacuuming storm drains on Mead Hill and Westgate. We also cambered Westgate and cleaned out a large root ball that we found. We began clearing right of ways. We're gonna focus on these now that it's hopefully drying up. A lot of ones we couldn't get into because we were just making ruts with the tractors and stuff, so hopefully now it'll be a little bit easier. We had fog inspection at Claudia's Grinder Shop. And we're looking into other storm lines for American Rooter to clean as preventive maintenance. Sometimes highway can't do them, so they'll call us for the truck. Other times we can't do them with our truck, like we had on Forest Hill, so we'll call them. So moving forward, I think we'll probably be using them. And to be honest, if we spend 2 weeks out there with 3 guys and 2 guys from highway, the cost really is about a wash if you compare them both, and we're not killing our equipment. We put a new groundwater pump at the Batterson pump station. They had, I think, 4 or 5 wells when they had the upgrade because we were about 25 feet deep, so they were constantly pumping groundwater. So we kept 2 of the wells. We just have a small 120 pump in. But believe it or not, just for mowing there, even June or July, it makes a huge difference. We're pretty much probably pumping about 80, 100 gallons a minute there, hours every day. So very low there.
Those fog inspections,
Yep.
Mark, that you notify them in advance, right?
Yeah, there's a whole form, so we'll call them, they'll give us a date that works, we show up. 90 out of 100, or I should say 280 out of 300 don't give us any problems. There's maybe, less than 5% that do. And if it's a real big problem, I used to do them full time, and I would always tell them, I go, listen, we're just here to make sure you're not sending us a ton of grease. If there's a true problem, the Department of Health gets involved, so it's easier to deal with us than the Department of Health. And like I said, the majority of them are really, they're good about it.
Don't you normally do a couple of in a day?
Yeah, we usually do about 5 to 10 in a month. It used to be a little bit more, but this month we had 2 tanks down, we had the cleaning, so we were down a little bit, but we typically go through it every, I'd say 2 years, we do the whole town.
So I haven't heard you say that you've actually had any backups or anything.
No, we have not yet.
They had pretty, I remember down at the center there, the Chinese restaurant. Or whatever.
Oh, yeah, so we have, and again, I don't want to cancel myself, but we have like a critical area checklist that we go through like 2 weeks, twice a year. So it's the Union Center, Stop and Shop, Executive Drive over by Trump. This plaza right here at Starbucks in Naples, that used to be really bad. In fact, the first time we did it, it goes behind the mobile station and then across the street another siphon. And that, the first time we jetted it, we had so much grease, it came up in the manhole like a tree trunk. And it just started coming up, and we sucked it all out and kind of caught it, but we do those every 6 months now, so we haven't had an issue.
Where the bad spots are.
Pretty much, I mean, I'm sure there's one that will eventually come up and bite us, but we add it to the list. So we haven't had an issue yet. It's not to say we don't get a call that, hey, there's a bag, and we go out and we jet it before it gets bad, but I mean, we've really been pretty proactive about staying on top of it.
Where do you dispose of that stuff?
So the grease and stuff, we will come near our back pad and we'll just send it through the plant. The really bad stations like Trump Plaza has a ton of grease. I mean, I could show you videos and you'd probably be shocked. You drain the wet well down 36-inch pipe coming in, and you think the wet well is clean, and when you go under the pipe, it just starts flowing in through the pipe, which is crazy because we do fog inspections at Trump and they barely have anything for grease. So, but we clean it with an exact, so they'll take it. And if we have grit, we dump it here in the back pad down there, and then we just got one in April. We'll get like a 12-yard dumpster, we'll load it, and then McBack will take it. So most of it, if we jet it, comes back here, if we know it's like patch of flood, I showed you those pictures, maybe that will come and they'll take it, and then I think it goes to a landfill in Jersey. Repairs of the plant, all the DO probes were cleaned as part of preventive maintenance, so these are just important because the VFDs read off of them to open and close the valves and increase the blowers. So if those aren't accurate, your whole blower program isn't accurate. We had a loose slide pin in the dewatering unit, similar to kind of like a cotter pin, cleaned it and reinstalled it with block plate. Turned on the settling polymer for the high flows we had. This is when we had like daily flows that were up around 10 to 13 million gallons a day. So instead of running 3 clarifiers, we were running 2 with the polymer on. I tell the operators, it's not like magic. If your blanket's 8 feet, it'll get you down to, 4 or 5, so it won't take it completely down, but it'll buy you the time you need. We performed annual maintenance on the transfer building compressors, oil, solenoids, belts, etc. was all completed. The vac drops and dumpster for grit pickup, so that was May. 12 yards were filled and taken away. And that's anything from pump stations to lines we jet to anywhere. We jetted up by Yukon, by the exchange, and we took out a ton of grit, pieces of curbs and stuff, so that was all taken out with McVac. We replaced the leaking hydraulic gauge on the back truck. We recalibrated the effluent ammonia and nitrate probes. Same thing as the ammonia probes or the DO probes. If they're not accurate, your trending is only so good as the probe is. Finished mowing the game field is for Tom Larson. That's in the back of the plant. And we had monthly fire extinguisher and eye wash station inspections. We also pumped out the electrical manholes. Avon and Crocus flow meters were calibrated on May 6th. Both towns are present. They're all within 2%, so that's complete. I know there's no sewer lateral report because they didn't have any this month.
You're aware of what you did, or didn't get paid for the.
I am not aware of that yet. Yeah, I actually emailed Joe about that and I didn't get a response yet.
Yeah, I was with him Monday night.
He would have known that, yeah.
Yeah, I saw him Monday night. Town council meeting. That was it.
Let's see, I don't know if I see the listing of properties for sewer payments, is that in there?
Yeah, we didn't have any this year. There's nothing, so nothing for me.
Any questions on that, review report? Okay, hearing none, under new business. Anything there, Mark?
Nope.
Unfinished business,
No.
new item,
Oh, that one we're gonna add to the strategic plan. We can discuss that after and I'll put it in next meeting too.
public correspondence. No chicken manure.
I hope not. That was one and done for us.
No, you gotta spread that like this, it's great.
Yeah,
They're growing now, they're trying to grow now. Temperature is warmed up.
and they got plenty of rain too, so.
Yeah,
Corn, or what do they grow?
that on that field there, yeah.
And that's seed corn, right? They use it for, I think.
It's good box.
Okay, any other business? Hearing none, we have motion adjourned. So, second discussion. None in favor? Carried.